Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Rant Bollox.
You just started that quick.
I know. Well, we're gonna attempt here a high five, so a virtual high five. I just wanted to start off with my bad for uploading the episode a little late. So you probably heard us talk about Mike Tyson and those things today. But we'll get them out at a more timely manner. And I just wanted to say thanks. There was a bunch of comments. I think there's like 15 or 20 comments.
You said that to me, and I was looking on it, and I was thinking, okay, what's he talking about? I was like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, you guys are back. You're not dead. And I was like, oh, geez, we are not dead. That's great.
Yeah. I do have to laugh, though, because not soon... I looked back at our history of like uploads, and it was only like two or three videos ago. It was like, we're back, you know? I'm like, well, I can't call this episode We're Back because we're back again, you know. But no, yeah. I think we're back in like a proper way this time. So like
we're like the podcast Olympics. We come around every 4 years. People half pay attention, and then we leave again.
Of course, yeah. Give you some nuggets of information. But no, it's great to be back. Great to do the one last week, and we'll try and do some extra episodes as well, like the deep. I know the digging deeper ones that you do. They definitely take some time, but some reviews, some analysis, and we'll kind of sprinkle that into these podcasts as well. So
I did see there was a comment someone left, and it was I don't know if we mentioned it last week what we were thinking we might watch, whatever, but he was saying doing a week-to-week review of Silo, or like a bi-weekly of Silo.
You know, I'd love that. And again, like again, you'd think because of our podcast we've seen everything, but Silo is up my street and I haven't seen it yet, so I need to.
Oh,
but
I am
the
first season.
I am the post-apocalyptic guy. You know, I like all that stuff, so I know. Obviously, it got a season 2. Has it started yet? Have you watched it? Yeah. Or
the first episode has come out. The second episode is out. Tomorrow's Friday, so it comes out every Friday.
Okay.
So tomorrow will be episode 2.
Yeah.
But if you haven't even watched the first season, then
I'm down to. I'm actually on vacation for the next 2 weeks, so I'm down to kind of get something done. Like Gladiator will be one of them. Gladiator 2 for sure. So we can do a review. But kind of like I like that dark kind of the dark TV shows and stuff. Silo definitely seems like that's the kind of one. So.
We'll go watch Gladiator on the weekend, then we can do a review next week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the same to do. We'll go see it this weekend, so by Monday next week we'll be able to do a review. So
yes, for sure.
Good old Denzel's back.
If you get around to watching Silo, let me know, because I wouldn't mind doing that. Like rather than do 10 episodes in a chunk and be like, we watched the whole season and we can't feel our brains anymore because it's 10 hours of footage. It's like. You just do like 2 episodes and just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
I think that'd be the way to go.
Yeah, for sure, man. How's the week been anyway? What have you been up to?
Well, it's just with this. I kept bugging you to get the new podcast up.
Every day you're just like, we're just going to stack them up, you know, and not release any. So
you weren't making us come back. You were just doing this just so you could test out your new UI or whatever it was doing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it on the server and never upload them and just say, I've got hours and hours of Neary content, and I'm just never gonna.
You just kept teasing me. You're like, we can do this and we can live stream and we don't even have to upload anymore. It's just gonna go straight to YouTube and we'll have a premiere day. And I'm like, that sounds really cool, Al. And then you don't ever release it.
Actually, to be fair and open, because I think I like it when other podcasters are like this and they kind of give you a little look into how things are done. And we're not technical by any means, but before, when we did our podcast, so we would do it on Audacity. So Paul would record, I would record. Now, we would record, I don't know if you're recording on your mic right now, your Snowball mic? Not Snowball, but the other one, yeah? Yeah,
my mic is now, it should be the mic that you're getting through this. This should be my mic.
Okay, yeah, you put that through the Skype. So anyway, we'd have both the Audacity like audio files, and then Paul would send me his, or I'd send him mine, and then we'd basically just merge them into a video file. But now what we're doing is we're using OBS software, which is like what a lot of streamers do, and we're just connecting we're on a Skype call right now, so we're just like connecting our Skype call, cropping it into this image, and then we can just do it, so it's all kind of built into one video file. All I need to do is just add the intro, the dubstep intro, which I know someone mentioned in the comments that they missed the good old dubstep sound. But so it is easier to upload, even though it took me 5 days to do it after the last one. So, but we'll do it anyway. That's the new format. So we'll be on camera, and we should be able to get them up quicker. And it's nice to kind of see our visual faces for when we slag each other.
I wouldn't say that far. No, I wouldn't. This was just in a way to make sure that we couldn't faff about.
We can faff about,
because we always find a reason to be like, this and I got to do this, and you got. Now it's like it's a call. It's just a call,
yes,
and there's no more effort involved in answering the phone. So I couldn't be like, oh my God, Al, I couldn't possibly have pressed the answer key. Like that's all I got to do now to make the podcast. Like it's great compared to where we were when we first started.
And also, in case anyone was wondering, like we weren't doing these like naked or anything. I mean, you might not have any pants on. I might not have any pants on, but that's
no one's business.
That's for another episode. And then
it's a privacy issue.
I did want to mention.
Your privacy.
I did want to mention. Like I've slightly blurred my background. We were just kind of going through our little filters here, like what you can do. But Paul, he's got this like you got a couple of DVDs, Blu-rays, I'm thinking, and some books back there. So I originally said to him at the beginning of this, before we hit record, like, is there any Easter eggs back there and stuff? So maybe moving forward, there might be.
There might be one back there.
What is that?
But we'll see.
Who is that? Because it's small. He's small from here, so.
He's small here. Like it's not just that he's far away.
No, but he's
it's not one of those
he's
things.
extra small. He's extra small.
Okay.
Oh, he's coming up. He's coming up. Okay.
Shazam.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, Shazam guy.
Yeah.
I like Shazam. The movies were okay, but
yeah, I like both of them. I think I preferred the first one, but I thought they were both pretty fun. We lost you there? Oh, no, you're back.
We did lose me. I'm thinking we might be hit by a storm outside because I'm listening. I'm like,
oh yeah.
That was what happened to me during the week. So it's like, I think this is like the tail end of it might be hitting.
Yeah.
The wind's picking again. So if I do disappear, that's what it is.
No, yeah. Neary's in Vancouver, so there is a storm. We were going to maybe do a podcast yesterday, but then he was like, there's a good chance it might cut out. So, but
yes,
all good.
And just on this, to bring it up, so you're usually leading the way, but I don't know if you know this. Last week we were talking about Superman. Superman's being like Superman's the first movie for the DCU.
Yeah.
All the pressure. We were talking about that. Excited but nervous. The actual first DCU thing is coming out next week, or no, the week after next, December 5th.
Okay.
It's the cartoon called Creature Commandos.
I don't even know if I've heard of this, dude.
Yeah, probably not. Nobody. It's like I maybe read one or two issues, but it's like from what I know, it's basically there. It's sort of like a Suicide Squad, and then it's a bunch of like nobodies, like outcasts, and then they sort of deal with supernatural stuff. So it's like the Wolfman, Frankenstein's Bride of Frankenstein. I think there's like that. Do you remember the dog creature in Suicide Squad? I think he's in it. Weasel.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But Flag is in it. So the guy who runs the Suicide Squad in the movies, Rick Flag, he's also in the Creature Commandos.
Okay. All right.
So they're like an undead, supernatural kind of force.
And sorry, did you say it was the start of the reboot? Like it's this?
Yeah. So this is officially James Gunn involved. It says it like on the poster. I saw the poster today. It says the new beginning of the DCU or something like that.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So this is going to be the first touch of like what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I think it's obviously a cartoon, so it's not going to be the big splash of like a Superman movie.
Mm.
But a lot of people are going to watch it really intent and be like, oh, he's mentioning this or they're mentioning that, because anything you mention is now going to be canon.
Oh. Is that storm coming in?
Over, you're like, okay, so that's the way the universe works now.
You broke up for like 2 seconds there, so.
No, that's your fault. I don't care.
Going.
No, I was just saying that anything that they're going to do in the show or in the cartoon is now going to be canon. So
okay,
it will relate to the Batman or the Superman or whatever's going to happen down the road.
I like.
So
I like the fact
I don't think
that
he's going to like straight out going to mention Superman or Batman or Justice League, but anything that comes up, anything that's mentioned, any bad guys, that's the world now. That's going to be an idea of where we're kind of like jumping in on this kind of thing.
Oh, cool. I like that, like, because I know that he was rebooting the DC universe, but he's doing everything from the comic side to, the movie side as well, and probably touching the TV as well, in some way. That's cool. At least, like, his vision is going to be connected to the rest of them, and it's not going to be, like, as disjointed as it was, so hopefully.
Yeah. Well, the comics, I know you don't read the comics, but they've got a new run happening now. It's sort of like Marvel had a series called Ultimate.
Okay, yeah.
So they kind of tried to reboot the universe and make it like more realistic and modern. So Iron Man was a modern, like he was in Iraq or Afghanistan where he got injured. Thor he's a god, but is he not a god? Is it technological? Captain Marvel there was a lot of iffy kind of stuff in it. Yeah. But it was kind of like, this is the new versions of them. DC are doing a new thing where it's like a new separate universe. It's called Absolute. So there's Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman. And they just gave like the guys who created this new season or the new series kind of like, yeah, do what you want. Like just reinvent them. Like the same basics are in place, but you can kind of go off and do your own kind of spin on it. And it's weird enough that it's interesting, and I think weird enough that it's never going to cross over and be the normal.
Yeah.
But like I said, like it means that James Gunn, for his movie coming out next year, they could just like, if it's a success, I think it's going to give them a chance to, when the universe goes back to normal, they can just be like, oh, and in this universe, Superman is XYZ to match the comic or to match the movie. I think that's kind of in their back pocket.
When do you think the Superman film's going to come out? Do you know? Do you reckon like a summer kind of release? Because we haven't seen. Like it's summer or later because we haven't seen a trailer yet. We'll see a trailer before 2025, I'm sure. But I don't. If we haven't seen one yet, and it's I was going to say Man of Steel. It's not Man of Steel, but it's Superman. So they're going to have like 2 or 3 trailers. So yeah, this could be like even an August release or something like that because they might want to put a bunch of stuff out there and really get it out there for people.
We'll just look it up. Let's just do it. Or does it even have a date?
We just actually look this stuff up.
2025.
Yeah, I mean, trailer. I'm going to say trailer.
This is why people tune in for us every 4 years. For information that they can easily access elsewhere.
Yeah. Trailer.
Date, July 11th.
I'm gonna say on podcast trailer before December. We're gonna see it in November sometime. So pretty soon.
Like we're July.
We got 10 more days. 10 more days. 9 more days.
Yeah, it's not even a case of like interest or like the comic. Like it's pure business. Like you need to have.
Yeah.
You know this. Like you know the side of marketing. You have to have your run up. You got to have your ramp. You got to be able to like put enough stuff in place that they're going to I can't remember. There's a term like you want it to peak, like you want it to peak at the movie. You don't want people getting excited in February.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So if it's next July, I think you're right. The trailer should be a pretty soon.
And do you think they'll do anything like any Marvel tricks? Remember, I love that Marvel kind of hid some things, like they took whether it was like Thor's hammer out of a shot or Captain America's shield, like it wasn't broken or something like that, just like little things from a trailer. They spent the extra time not to kind of spoil anything. I mean, they had built that up over so many years. But do you reckon? I mean, I guess with this new Superman, it is just starting. So, but they could still edit some things out if they just don't want to ruin the film. I don't know. It depends who's editing. It depends who's editing the trailer.
Marvel always with the big Avengers movie. They're like, oh, we're gonna put Hulk in this trailer, or we're gonna show shots that are not going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
we're gonna. What the big one for Thor was they made sure you didn't see his eye patch.
That's right. I remember that one.
So in Ragnarok, you didn't know that he loses his eye.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that would be obviously pretty big deal if you saw that in a trailer, but they wanted to show something. But would you? Would it be
real quick here? I think you were bang on the money. The release window for the Superman trailer is rumored to be the week before Christmas.
Okay, for the trailer, yeah.
Yeah, for the trailer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
because it's already because they're saying that the teaser trailers already exists and people have seen it, including Frank Grillo, who plays Rick Flag Sr. in Creature Commandos. So in the cartoon, Rick Flag's dad, played by Frank Grillo, who used to be in Marvel.
Yeah.
But he says he's seen it.
I saw him tweet something, and he said like he got a little bit emotional when he was watching it. He was like, "This is something good, something special." I think he said. So.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And then there's the whole part of my brain that's like, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to see it. I want to walk cold.
Yeah.
But now we have a fucking podcast. Thanks, Al.
So
swearing.
I'm sure we've chatted about this on many a podcast, but like, because my brother's the same. He does not. I don't think he even watches trailers anymore. Like, he'll watch it for like the super cheesy Jason Statham, whatever, the Beekeeper, whatever. But like outside of that, like New Lord of the Rings, like maybe the Superman film stuff, he won't watch the trailer because he just does not want to ruin it. As much as when he goes to the cinema, he'll actually like plug his ears and like not look at the screen. When like, the big ones come on, like say Mission Impossible or something like that. Are you like that? Apart from this podcast ruining it all.
I usually watch the first one.
Yeah. Okay.
So I watched the first Mission Impossible, the new one, Final Reckoning. So I don't know if you've seen that one.
No, but I haven't seen the last Mission Impossible. Reckoning. No. So
what are we even doing a podcast for? You haven't watched any movies. You haven't seen any TV shows.
It's been 5 years. We've not watched anything.
You know where you are. So, Is this just dementia? Is this early dementia?
Yeah. It's like no time's passed,
Yeah. No, the new teaser I watched for that, but then I think the thing with the Mission Impossible one, it's in its own world. Like, I'm always going to go watch it because I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a Fast and Furious thing. Like, it doesn't really matter what's in the trailer because I'm going to go watch it anyway.
Yeah.
And the weird thing with Mission Impossible movies is if you really pay attention, and I don't do this, is in the first, the title sequence, they always cut in scenes that are going to come up in the movie.
Oh, okay.
And I always like when you hear that, dun, 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 I stop watch, or like I do that, like I don't watch it in the theater because my brain will pick up like, oh, we're gonna have a scene with a motorbike, okay, and he's gonna jump out of a plane. Like,
yeah.
I don't, but like I already seen the trailer, so I know he's gonna fight Henry Cavill in a helicopter at some point. I know that's coming up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and when it's like, I guess it depends on the film, but yeah, most of the time, like you said, if you're gonna go watch it, it doesn't really matter if you see a couple of those scenes here and there, but I'll usually watch the first one, the teaser, because that's generally speaking when they're making trailers, the teaser is it's a tease. It's giving you enough of the feeling of there's that storm again. Yeah.
And like you'll get that from the Marvel movies are a good example because they'll have the teaser for the new Infinity War movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is gonna, and this, and a bit of Thanos and a bit of this. But the problem then you get is the next trailer's like, oh, and we got to show you the fight. Oh, we got to show, because it's coming out in a month and we need to have the pre-sales. And it's coming out in 2 weeks. We got to make sure you know that Tobey Maguire is going to be in there or whatever.
Yeah, and these days they show off a lot in like trailer 3 by the time it gets to the end. Like, you could see like a good cut of like, you see like the movie, cut up in pieces. Like when there's a 3-minute trailer, you actually do see quite a lot of it. So yeah, it's good to kind of avoid those. So yeah.
And if you watch them enough, like we watch enough of them, and it's I do. You don't watch anything anymore.
No, I don't watch anything. I just watch us, just our podcast. So
you just watch you talking about what you don't watch.
Just an inception. So
Inception. I'm like, yeah, it was a really good show last week. We talked about the show that we had the week before. It was great. But the trailer thing of like, and it's just me as well, because with editing and like you pay attention, like even if it's just a frame or a half a frame, you can tell. You'll be able to like, oh, that's from the final battle, or that's from a scene down the road. Like that's not happened yet.
Yeah.
And depending on the movie, if you're watching the movie and you still have the trailer in your head, like trailer 3 in your head, and you're kind of like, oh wait, they haven't had that scene with so and so in the rain.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, so this scene doesn't even matter. Like this is
True.
You know, in your brain.
I've often thought that as well. Like, you know, you watch something and you're like, oh god, I just saw the scene in the rain, and then you think, well, when I go and see the actual film, I'm going to be thinking of that. Most of the time, I don't. So that's cool. But yeah, if you saw it maybe within a week, you might be thinking of that.
Yeah.
But you mentioned like you were spotting kind of things in the trailer, like, you know, cuts and stuff. That's probably more obviously you, because because you do your own editing and things like that. I would say your average Joe probably won't see those things as much, will they? So, oh, and you're back.
I'm back.
So
I heard you there for a second. I apologize to everybody stuck with us on week 2 and we're already failing.
we got a storm brewing, so outside pools.
That is true. Yeah.
But no, I was just mentioning like the whole editing and like how you would spot that, you know, more than the average Joe, you know. So like when you see editing things, which brings me on to just like a random off question, what's like one of the worst kind of editing piece of editing from a big film that you've seen, or something? It doesn't even have to be like a mistake, just something you thought they should have done that better. But I'm talking like from like a Fast and Furious, Star Wars, Marvel.
Yeah.
You know, like you saw like the guy was like, you saw him walk past and you just saw him walk past again or something like that. Like have you seen something like that?
The things that get me now are they're not in the same room together. Like you can just immediately know. Like I can immediately know, like you're not in this. You're not here together.
Well,
like,
it's you know, you just mentioned that. You know what comes to mind straight away is Fast and Furious. Didn't The Rock and Vin Diesel have that feud? And there was a scene where they weren't even like together, but they were talking or something.
Yeah,
like
and they're CGing them like walking up to each other. Like that was like next level bullshit.
Yeah, that one was. And then this is more CGI, but obviously, why am I forgetting his name now? Dude that died in Fast and Furious, and then they got his brother, Paul Walker, and they got his brother. Yeah. I mean, that's more last minute. They just wanted to add him into the film, but you know when they CGI'd his face, you know when they were like racing at the end, and but that was like, I think you and I could have done a better job than that. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was a pretty janky thing for them involved.
I understand it was last minute, but anyway, that's more kind of quick CGI. But like actual editing, like I've read about a bunch of things. Like I've read in Gladiator, there's people wearing jeans in the background in a couple of scenes.
Well, that's the thing. Is that editing or is that continuity? It's those things of, you can see the gas tank on the back of the chariot and stuff like that. Like I know a lot of them, and sometimes it's hard not to see it. Like in Jaws, you're like, oh, I know, but like I've watched Jaws so many times that I'm gonna spot everything anyway.
Yeah.
In terms of edits, like bad edits, it's very rare for it to happen because unlike most of the other jobs, you're not under immense pressure. Like you're gonna have a couple of days to sit with something.
Sure.
You'll go back and watch another cut. You'll go back and watch it. So when it is bad, it's kind of like like they're dealing with, they've got no other option. Like, this is all. They're screwed.
And sometimes.
So like me and you, like they would film it and like we cut between you and me and you and me. It's like we're not in the same room. We're not even on the same side of the continent.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, they're definitely talking to each other. It's like, no, you guys are no.
Yeah.
You flew this guy in for one day and you got all the footage of him looking this way and looking that way, and then you just cut that in. And like that stuff annoys me because it wouldn't annoy me on a small budget. It annoys me on a big budget because you're already like, oh, this cost us $250 million, and you couldn't just get a schedule together to put them all in the same room.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like the planning is the most important thing, just make sure you're getting all the shots and you're doing it right, so. But and like when it comes to some of those like bad edits, I think back in the day, like you mentioned it, like that was what you had to deal with, like it was like you had a bunch of film, and it's just like we got no other takes, you know. Whereas like these days, yes, you can take a lot more footage, but you could probably use like AI or editing. It doesn't have to be AI. I know I know AI is quite a sensitive subject, but you could edit things out these days, you know. So as well, depending on how bad the mistake was, but yeah. So
true. Well, here's the thing about the AI that I was wondering for you. How much of...
Oh, we got a little bit of... Sorry, we had some cut out there, but...
That was you. That was your fault again.
I was
going to say AI, but I was also just realized, like, you haven't introduced the show properly. Don't you have, like, a little intro burb you're supposed to do?
Possibly.
Apart now. You're falling apart.
Yeah.
It's week 2. You've already introduced us.
Crumbling. So...
It's all right. It's 40 minutes in. We've had 7 dropped fucking messages. We'll just keep going.
It has it in the intro, you know, like the tech, the
dubstep.
The dubstep, yeah. What were you going to mention about AI?
For everybody who doesn't know us, or people tune back in, it's like, this is how we go. We don't have a plan. We were talking about a cartoon, then we're talking about movie editing, then we're talking about AI and robots. So I had a question for you, which was, looking at the Tesla robots, with the Optimus or whatever.
Yeah.
As a dad, at what point would you feel comfortable leaving the boys alone with an android or a robot?
I mean, not at all. I mean, not. If like being absolutely realistic, I think I would only be comfortable if they were older, at a younger age, because like, you know, but even then, like that, you have to draw the line. First of all, there's so many factors. It's Series 1, you know, it's like the iPhone 1. It's gonna fuck up. It's gonna kill people, or it's gonna malfunction. It's gonna strangle the grandma or something like that, you know. So I wouldn't trust them. Let's just say we get onto like version 7 and it's like very advanced and whatever. I still wouldn't leave them with like the 5 or 6-year-old. Maybe the 10-year-old or the 15-year-old. If again they have to be at like level 7, and you know, and they have to like have all these protocols in, you know. But yeah, it's still very.
Would that apply to something less, like the Tesla is obviously the thing that will probably, you would assume self-driving cars will happen before we have...
Yeah, well, my mind went there as well. Is like, would I trust going in a car, you know, a self-driving car?
Or not even you getting in it, like you in the morning being like, I'm not driving the kids to school or whatever. Just Troy, get in the car.
Yeah.
Just get the damn car, and then you just tell the car to drive him to school.
Yeah.
And you're like, would you ever get to that point? You're kind of like,
I mean,
you know, put your 6-year-old or your 7-year-old in a car.
Again, I don't think I'd do it. I wouldn't do it at that age, but I would probably do the car thing before the robot thing in a way. But I maybe just because self-driving cars are more established, you know. I've still not been in a Tesla. I don't know if you've been in a Tesla.
I've been in a Tesla car.
I've never even been in a Tesla, but I know around the GTA they can do the self-driving now, you know. So so that can be a thing. And then I was watching like a TikTok the other day, and some guy in California was getting in. He was getting in a cab. It was a Wemo or a Wii something, but the whole cab was like self-driving. So he like the Uber came to pick him up. He opened the door. There was no one in the car. Then at the back, he had to like swipe his card or something, and then it just drove. I'm like, how freaky is that? That this car with no driver, but it had the steering wheel and stuff, and then it just drove off. I know like the new Teslas, or like Uber Teslas, that he revealed them at the same time as the robots. They don't even have steering wheels, so like it was like we have no intention on anyone ever driving these cars. They're just going to drive themselves. Again, I don't
understand. That one seems stupid to me. To always have it being the automated. Like you would think, because this is the thing I thought of with fully electric trucks, which I'm in favor of, like fully electric cars, green energy. That's all cool. Yeah, let's save the future. Whatever. I won't be there, but you can have it. But living in Canada, and I've done a lot of road trips, a lot of driving, research trips all around, like way up. There's no recharge station in the middle of the Yukon. Like,
yeah.
As terrible as gasoline has been, and it's damaging the environment, and oils, it's like, I wouldn't get a fully electric truck. My brain would be like, no, at some point, you're going to be way out in the middle of nowhere, like on an island, which I'm on.
Yeah.
Like if I'm up in Tofino or I'm up in Port Hardy, it's like 3-4 hours from the city, or it's even more. But there's no charger. There might be one.
Yeah.
Or I have to go knocking on someone's door and be like, can I charge my truck for 8 hours outside your house?
Yeah, exactly. It's still too early. I mean, like, they're just getting like very popular around like the GTA and the cities now, you know. But that's because there's chargers and stuff. But there's also, again, there's more chargers around the GTA and whatever. But if you're going to make a road trip, you know, like the maps, you have like the built-in maps. So let's just say you're going to go from Toronto to Quebec or something, like Montreal. It will actually list all the charging stations along the way, like on the route, and it will tell you as you're driving, like you can go to this one, and it will also not let you go. I mean, you can go further if you want, but it will basically tell you have to come off now and go here, you know, kind of thing. So.
Well, my thing, it's not even the charging of it. Like what I was getting at was the cars that don't have steering wheels. Like, how can you predict that you're never going to need someone to drive that thing, like a manual drive?
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, have the steering wheel in there just in case. You know, like don't be too cocky to, you know, just just to kind of basically say this car is always going to be an automated car. You can't drive around. So yeah.
But I guess it's going to turn into like the equivalent now of a 66 Mustang, like a classic manual drive, big engine cars, like very rare, very cherished kind of thing, because they don't build them like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, in drive it yourself. It's like, oh yeah, this is a human operated machine. Oh wow, crazy.
Yeah.
Where'd you get this classic? Yeah, this Honda Civic. This is insane.
Yeah. It's not going to be too long until that happens. Like, I often wonder whether my kids need driving licenses, you know, because they're like, they're about 12 years away. Well, no, they're about 10, 11 years away from being able to, you know. So you think
years away from being allowed to.
Yeah, so it's still kind of early days, but you could argue in 11 years maybe there's a lot more self-driving cars, or I don't. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about. So
it'd be interesting just in the sense of the first wave of mostly people being drunk.
Yeah,
and your taxi doesn't have a driver, and you just get in and it just drops you off. then it loops around, like, because in that sense, what I mean, it's like the subway or the streetcar. Like, you don't see the driver.
Yeah.
They're up in a little booth.
Yeah.
And for that, with taxis, it's going to be, you know, because it'll be a 24-hour service. So you don't need a driver. It'll just be like the little pod, and it'll just go bam, 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 and drive all around.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, this is fine. I'm not worried about this. And then they'll, I think, adapt it into their regular day-to-day.
Yeah. You know what I remember is, I remember you and I, it was probably maybe even more than 10 years ago. We were in a bar in Toronto. I remember the bar. It was the Firkin and King, which isn't even there anymore. But we were discussing taxis, and it was when Uber started up. So it was probably been around for like a year or two, but we had never really taken one. But we were kind of like just like annoyed with ourselves that we didn't come up with this idea, you know, because we were like, hang on a second, what are you talking about? Because before then, if I needed to leave or you needed to leave and we needed to take an Uber, you were out on the street and you were hailing one down, like, hey,
and in the air, just being like, hey, no, light's not on. Okay,
and we were just like, and I remember being there, and then it was you or I, and we were like, oh, we're going to the next place, and we were like, hang on a second, we can see the car, we know Jeff's coming. He's coming in his Toyota Corolla, and he's going to be, he's going to be here in 11 minutes. we've got time. You don't have to like down your pint or whatever. Just like take your time because he's going to be here in 11 minutes. And then it goes, oh, he's 2 minutes away. We've finished our drinks. We're going to get in this car and it's already paid for. You know, it's just like it just makes sense. You know, like that whole that whole model.
It's definitely a revolution of just like you said before it happened. You're like, how did we not get this? How did this not be a thing?
Yeah. Totally. Bringing this back to some like movies and things, I just wanted to chat about a couple that I never chatted about last week because obviously there's a lot to catch up on over the last 4 or 5 years. One that kind of came up for me because, as you know, I'm a gamer. One movie that came out and kind of surprised me was have you seen the Gran Turismo film?
No, Orlando Bloom's in it, right?
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah. So, but it's based obviously on the on the computer game, but it's also based on a true story as well. There's like a true where they had these. Gran Turismo is a very realistic driving simulator for the PlayStation. It has been since PlayStation 1, but through the years it's got even more and more realistic. But you do have some people with their steering wheels and their sticks and their shifters and everything, and they're like properly, giving this thing a go, and it's made to be a driving simulator, as realistic as it can be, So the premise of the film is like they got the best driving simulator Gran Turismo players to race real track races, right? And they kind of narrowed it down. I don't want to like spoil the film, but they narrowed it down to like maybe like the 2 or 3 best Gran Turismo races. But it's also loosely based off a true story as well. So then these guys are racing real professionals on the track as well, which is kind of nuts. And then like some of these Gran Turismo players, they're in the real car. Obviously that's completely different for them. You're feeling the force feedback and the G's and everything, but they're like, I know this fucking track. Like I know to like do the steering wheel this much and blah blah blah. So, but I was actually really surprised. The film was like caught me by surprise by how like the characters and the development and the way it's shot and the way they kind of bring elements of the game into it as well. I just remember thinking like, oh, that's a highlight. It's one of my, when I go through like my Plex, I've got like a Plex of movies. Whenever I kind of go by it, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch a couple of scenes of that, or I'll just watch the film again, So, yeah.
What film do you think you've watched the most?
Like recently, like in the last ever?
No, like your whole life. What film have you just watched 100 times over?
It's really hard to tell, but like when I was younger, I watched Groundhog Day a hell of a lot. So
of all the movies,
like when I was younger, I watched Groundhog Day a hell of a lot. I watched Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, a hell of a lot.
That's the Kevin Costner
one, yeah. And I'm talking about DVDs because I remember having them on DVDs. I had that one, Twister, which funny enough, my next question was, what did we think of Twisters?
I still haven't seen Twisters.
Oh, you haven't seen Twister? It is Twisters, isn't it? Yeah. But Twister, I had the DVD. Greg, my brother, had the DVD, and I watched that. The cow going by and releasing the all into the thing.
Yeah,
that one I watched a hell of a lot because I had the DVD. I'm just trying to think, and then Hook. I'm thinking of like, like my childhood, but I mean recently as I'm older, what film have I seen a lot? I don't know. I jump between so many. What about yourself? What would be in like your top 5 to 10?
I mean,
you watch because you do these. You do these analyses, so
analysis. Yeah, I can watch that movie so much.
So sometimes you watch something a crazy amount. So I can imagine.
It's funny enough because this is why I had a bit of trepidation of going to see this one, but you want to see it, so I'll go see it and review it. I've watched Gladiator, the original.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous times. Like it was my background. Like you have the movie on in the background.
Okay.
And I could maybe do most of that movie verbatim.
Oh shit!
Like I could watch it and be like, I know every line that's going to come up.
Oh cool.
Because I had the VHS of it.
Okay.
It was like it was right before it became. I had the DVD as well, but I had the VHS. It was like one of the last VHSs, and then I had the DVD when it came out too.
I haven't seen it like many times, but I really, really enjoyed the film. I thought it was an awesome film. So I mean, I've probably seen it like 5 times, maybe 7 times. Yeah. But I really, really enjoyed the film. Very good film.
Well, here's the thing we were talking about last week, which we should have to get on, because we're going to have to review Gladiator 2, but we also said we'd do commentaries.
Yes.
So we could do a commentary on Gladiator, or Alien Romulus is now on.
That's right, yeah.
Well, I think. So do you want to watch that as well?
Honestly, I think it would be pretty cool to do the commentary on Gladiator, especially now that you've said that you've seen it so many times. So you probably have got a lot of good intel.
I've got everything about that film I love.
And I think it'll be nice to combat that with the new one that's coming out, you know?
Sounds good. You pick a day and I won't be there. Or maybe I will.
Yeah, you pick a day and we'll put the podcast up a year later. So
that's the way we do things. We'll watch the new one, review it, and then do the commentary on the other one. Just completely arse around face way of doing it.
I am definitely looking forward to the second one. I think I mentioned it on the last podcast, which everyone's seen. But it was that when the trailer came out, my first thing was, why are they doing this? They didn't need to do this, you know, and still might still hold true, you know. But then after watching the trailer, and I know trailers can be fake and they could like sell you or edited in a way, you know, that is not true to the movie. But I have to admit, I watched it and I was like, I want to fucking see this film. Like All
right, put my hand up.
Yeah,
I haven't watched the trailer.
Okay, cool. Like I'm glad you haven't. So
I like I said, I didn't know if I was going to watch it at all. So I didn't want to watch any of it.
Good.
Like if I do go and see it, I have such reverence for the original that if I go we're going to go see it. But if I was going to go see it, I was kind of like, I just want to walk in blind.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect thing to do, dude. And I think you'll still probably be angry at it, you know. But
probably, yeah.
But
the thing is, Ridley Scott he's 80 something now, and
is he 80? Like, is he in his 80s?
He's in his 80s. Damn. Yeah, he's getting there.
Okay.
And I think he has, I don't know what you say, like a get out of jail free card, but like he's made so many great movies that it doesn't really matter if he makes shit ones. Yeah. Like he can just do it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you still made Alien, you still made Blade Runner, you still made Gladiator, you still made Black Hawk Down. Like, he's made incredible movies.
Yeah,
and like,
of course.
Makes a crappy one, makes a good one, makes an okay. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like when you've got a couple of like absolute classics, you're kind of off the hook for whatever else you do.
Yeah, no, I will say again, there's going to be no spoilers, but just from watching it, I was like, okay, this looks like it could actually be pretty good, and I'm glad. I'm looking forward to watching it, kind of thing. You know, it went from why are they making this film to this is on my list. You know, so cool. You know?
Ridley Scott is 86.
86. Wow, good for him.
So yeah, just like what the sequel thing that brings up is like, because he obviously went back and did Prometheus, and then he did Alien Covenant, and Covenant is shit. We know that.
Yeah, dog shit. So,
but it was interesting things in it. Like David's great in it. I think I love Fassbender and anything. Like I think he's just brilliant. In that, great. Prometheus is that one that we've talked about it. It's did we do a commentary? Maybe check it out. Check it on the channel.
Yeah,
it might be. If not, I'm lying. We'll do it eventually. It's that movie that's like. It's how to describe. It's like, it's almost. It's like a nearly perfect meal. It's like it's slightly undercooked. It's like there's something missing here. Like if you just didn't screw this up and this up, it would have been something special.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly put. It's like not enough time in the oven kind of thing, you know.
Yeah. Like Idris is in it. He's great. The Fassbender's David's in it, and then like the landing and the ship and the special effects are incredible. Yeah. But what the hell are you doing, man? There's some weird shit in there. It's just not good. But it's Ridley, so I'm like, I don't care. Like he can do no wrong. Like he's. I haven't seen Napoleon. I actually want to watch Napoleon.
No, I haven't seen it either. I think that's
it's a 4-hour version, I think, on Apple.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's on Apple TV. Yeah. So going back to Prometheus quickly, I heard a little Easter egg. You know the engineers, you know, the tall white dudes.
Yeah.
Greg. Oh God, what's his name? I was going to say Greg Wallace, but Greg, the guy that hosts Taskmaster, tall guy.
Oh. Greg Davies.
Greg Davies, yeah. He got like an audition to be one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like apparently like his agent called him and said like, we need someone to play in like a Ridley Scott film, and he was like, oh, he was like, Ridley Scott, you know, kind of thing like that. And he was like, wait a second, you want me to play like a really tall, like random alien dude, you know, like you don't want me to act. And they were like, yes, we just need you to just stand there. You're big and you're tall, because he's like so, you know, he's like 7 foot or whatever. He was like, no, like I want to, you know, I want to act and blah blah blah. But I just thought it was funny because like I think it was at the beginning of the film, you know, like the engineer who like swallows the thing or whatever and then falls, you know. So that could have been him, Greg Davis. But no.
Did we do a commentary on that, or am I just thinking of all the times we've bitched and moaned?
I think we did. I think we did. I remember talking about it. And Alien's so true to our heart. You know, those films.
Yeah, we'll have to do a commentary on Gladiator though. That'll be fun.
Yeah, Gladiator for sure. Yeah, we definitely haven't done that. I know one of our commentaries that we did was the Wolverine. It was it just the Wolverine? Yeah. So I think that
was it the Wolverine or was it Wolverine Origins?
Or Wolverine Origins. I think that's the one.
Yeah, Wolverine Origins.
I just remember a bunch of people kind of listening into that. You know, we were like, we got to comment on this film. So
yeah. I'll have to go back now and check the comments and start replying to people as I always did.
Yeah.
And people are surprised. I'm like,
the other one I wanted to bring up.
You took the time to watch this. Anybody who's watching this now, it's a weird thing because you said it earlier, and like people were commenting, and there's a part of your brain when you read that and you just wait, like what? Like you're watching Idiot A and Idiot B.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just there's some part of your brain, and then I immediately like it feels funny, and then there's the really awkward part of you that just wants to go like, oh, thanks for watching, thanks for listening.
Yeah, of course.
And I know as a listener that when you hear somebody on a podcast or whatever thanking you, it feels stupid because you're like, well, what else am I going to do? Of course I'm listening. It's like, no. This is definitely something, being older and like with kids, I really appreciate it's like, you got so little time in your day that if you're spending your time listening to us or like enjoying our nonsense, it's like, oh, thanks. Like, I know how valuable time is. So it's like, yeah, great. Thank you for listening. It's fun. That's just some, like, I appreciate that.
And even though we're
thousands of people that have like listened to the commentaries, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Thank you.
And even though now we're on camera, I know everyone's got us minimized into the dock, so that we're just a podcast in the background. So. What was going to mention? The other one I was going to mention, just as a laugh, was Roadhouse.
McGregor.
The McGregor. Like McGregor just walked around like a complete, and we're allowed to swear, a fucking animal.
Yeah, just full gorilla. He just fully went.
I'm just
gorilla
mentioning him because obviously I know you like McGregor. I mean, I don't mind him either, and we're kind of like we like our boxing and our sports as well. So, but I just thought that film was a laugh. You know, it's just like, I mean,
that was I think Jake nailed it because like right off the bat he knew exactly what the kind of film it was.
Yeah,
and he's such a good actor that like once you buy into him, then you kind of like you're ready for all the other nonsense that comes along.
Yeah, for sure. He got himself into like crazy fitness as well for that. Like he was already like fairly fit, but like he was up there because I think they brought him into the UFC, didn't they? Like
I was watching there was an actual UFC event, so they obviously did a deal with them. So in the middle of the night, like the actual pay-per-view night, they cleared the ring, the octagon out for whatever 5 minutes, and Jake does a walk, like he does an actual walk with like the crowd are there, and he does Bruce Buffer's like calling his name, and he gets into the and then they have like the big physical camera in the ring, and it was pretty sweet, like that they got that deal and got that actual footage.
Yeah, that is awesome. I remember seeing that, and they got McGregor and everyone like, you know, connecting with him and like and having, you know, I think McGregor was like showing him kind of what to do, like when you walk in and how to hype yourself up and all that. Yeah. I mean, he'd know how to do that. So
I did like McGregor's the meme that started going around after the "Where the fuck is everybody?"
Oh,
I mean, just him walking along.
That one's good, but there was another one at the end. My wife and I loved it. Oh, what was it? He was on the boat, and then it was something to do with Oh, I'm gonna forget, but the quote.
Oh, is it the octagon joke?
Yeah. It was like
He's like, you're not good with shapes.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was that. Yeah, we were just laughing for a while for that. Yeah, 'cause I think shortly after he gets knocked off the boat or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, but
yeah, it was a throwback to 80s, 90s, like.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you just have to look at
stuff.
the original film. But that one was done by Amazon Prime, and I want to say, and that was this year, wasn't it? That was their biggest film, numbers. And those guys have got Lord of the Rings, so like Roadhouse is going up there with Lord of the Rings. You know, I know Lord of the Rings is TV
cartoon coming
out. There's Lord of the Rings cartoon.
Yeah. The War of the Rohirrim, I think it is. It's set before the movie, so it's back. And then I've heard there's going to be a prequel movie, The Hunt for Gollum.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know that's real. Like, you can't even tell if things are real or they're AI fake stuff. But apparently it's going to be The Hunt for Gollum. It's going to have Andy Serkis and directed by Peter Jackson. But
cool.
We'll see.
Yeah. You never know with
just on that, the Amazon Lord of the Rings thing, I haven't watched it. It's one of those ones where I'm like, no, the movies were pretty perfect. The Hobbit movies were a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
And I don't really want more content.
Mm.
And there's something about that too, of like definitely getting older and you're just kind of like, I'm just going to leave it alone. Like, I don't need a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, the Alien Romulus one, I'm interested in just because we both kind of like those movies.
I love that vibe.
I'm too close to the camera with this. I know that. Jesus, do that again. So I'll watch that, and it's also Alien and Terminator are like in the same world now of like there's more shit ones than there are good ones.
Yeah.
So you just gotta roll with it and just be like, all right, there's a new shit one out. Maybe this one will be good. Probably not.
Yeah. I also think it's a smaller thing, but the Lord of the Rings TV show came out at the same time as the Game of Thrones
House of the Dragon.
Yeah, and for me, when there's so many shows out there, you kind of sometimes you categorize them into like a feel good Ted Lasso and like a comedy, you know, and those two kind of are in the same category. So I think a lot of people went to one or the other. I don't think people are watching both of them. Right. So I think there was a bit of they probably lost a bit of an audience there. Someone jumping off Game of Thrones just went straight into that, you know, fuck Lord of the Rings, or the other way around, absolute massive Lord of the Rings fan. Oh, I can't be bothered with this Game of Thrones TV stuff. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So, you're right, because that's the way TV works and film works, is nobody takes a risk on anything, and then they take a risk on whatever it is, and everyone's like, oh, why don't we have one of those?
Yeah.
So you've seen it, but if you get that big show, if you get that thing that's out the gate that nobody else has done or is doing, you're in a class of your own. Like when Game of Thrones was running, like before it got whatever happened to it at the end and then it imploded.
which we commented on.
Or season 5 Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It was, and we were fans obviously, but it's the only show out there.
Yeah. Yes.
There's no competition for it. Like there was nothing else that would get you like in any way thinking of watching something else.
Well, I mean, we were doing episodes on it. Like I was looking back, you know, because we were starting back the channel, and I was looking back through our podcasts, and I was like, oh yeah, we reviewed those week by week. And I remember, you know, we were watching it on whatever streaming service we had. But I was like, yeah, you know, it's been a while since there's been a show like that actually, where you're kind of like, oh, it's next week's going to be this episode. You know, there's been many through the years, but like since Game of Thrones, I haven't watched a show where I'm like, when the hell is next week's, you know, episode coming up? I know a lot of people.
Silo's pretty good. Silo, yeah,
and I know I haven't been on this one, but I know some people might comment on it. Is Stranger Things is one of those shows, and that's heading into its final season. So
all right, no, so I'm going to say no. Here's the thing with Stranger Things.
Sure.
If this would be a rant moment.
that's what
season
we're about.
Season 4 was fucking pointless.
Okay.
It didn't need season 4. Season 4, people love it. There's a lot of cool moments in it. The music and blah blah blah. Just take this like it's like any story. take where they are in episode 1 and take where they are in episode 10 or whatever the final episode was, and what's the difference?
Right.
And there is none.
Okay.
It's the same scenario at the start of the season as the end of the season.
Okay, yeah.
And like season 1, 2, and 3, I agree. They're really well done. Season 1 is very good. Season 2, they built on it. 3 was kind of stretching things. But in season 4, it's a redundant season. You didn't need it. Like they spent a lot of money to move the characters from here to the same place. Like they didn't go anywhere. And like the bad guy didn't get defeated. None of the heroes died. Characters that died were introduced in season 4.
Yes, yeah.
Same thing happened in season 3 with Samwise Gamgee. Like they haven't done anything where it's like, oh, we're gonna kill one of the kids. Kill a kid. Like I know that's not something you should be saying out loud. Obviously.
No, but you
kill a child.
Yeah, you need to
kill one of them.
You need to have like a shock moment or something.
Yeah, you got to do something. And I think season 4 for me, that's what always gets me is with TV only. It doesn't happen in movies usually. You'd hope not, but in TV where it's like this is spinning your wheels. Like you're all getting paid and you're all like you're doing a good job, but none of you are willing to risk it because you know you want the next season. Yeah.
That's the thing, and that's what happens these days. Is like they want that next season, so they're afraid to ruin anything or delete someone. That's
Yeah.
We were talking about
going back real quick. That's why Game of Thrones, as a book, was very successful, and why it works as a TV show is there's no point in that story where you knew what the hell was going to happen because right from the get-go they killed everybody.
No one was safe.
And anybody. They didn't care. Yeah. And that was the first season's the major point of the first season was you build up Ned Stark, you build up him becoming the Hand of the King.
Well, he dies and everything. He knew he was going.
Everybody knew. Everyone knew Shawnee was done. Shawnee had a chance.
That's a long running joke. Like he's always written off in shows, isn't he? So
yeah, it's like there's something where I remember seeing a box office graph of like movies where he dies and movies where he doesn't. And it's like you really want to kill Sean Bean if you want a successful movie. If you don't kill him, you're not going to make money.
I've seen a couple of like memes for Game of Thrones, and it was like, just started watching Game of Thrones, loving this Ned Stark guy. Can't wait until I see this character arc. It's like, But yeah,
I was actually funny the Game of Thrones thing. I was talking to my friend just the other day, and he was saying he's never watched it. He never got into it.
Right.
And he was getting all the feedback, all the like the background noise, the white noise of it when there was the final season of like it's big and it's a big and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he was like, maybe I'll start getting into this because everyone's talking about this every week. We were doing episodes and every reviews, and he was living with roommates at the time, and he comes down the stairs to hear his roommate just screaming at the TV, just like what is this? This is the whole right thing. And he's like, he just looks in, and they were watching the final episode and stuff where just everybody knows. Just what?
Why end it this way? Why do this to us?
And she'd watched every episode. She'd read all the books. She'd loved it, and she just had a full meltdown watching this. Like this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And he waited until the show was over, and he peeks his head in and goes, "So should I start? Is it a good one?" Like fucking. Maybe I won't watch that. Maybe I won't watch this Game of Thrones thing.
Well, the other thing with watching Game of Thrones, I think it's a bit different if you watch it all at the same time as well. Because, we were watching it over a long, long period. And especially towards the end, like, there was writer strikes, I think. So that, like, made it even longer in between, like, seasons. And then eventually, I think it got to the last season, it was only 5 or 7 long or something. But then, it was drawn out. But if you were to, like, binge watch that and you were just like, okay, I'm going to watch season 7 and 8 all in like a week or a weekend, that must, I feel like it must be even more disappointing, I know we waited a long time and then you kind of get that crappy ending, but to watch it all very quickly and just be like, this is how they did that, this is how they quickly wrapped it up and finished it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know the last season, didn't they like half the episodes in it as well? And they did a lot of like
The story I've heard is that they were offered as many seasons as they wanted, or they were offered another season.
Okay.
At least. And instead they condensed everything that should have had taken a season into the final 3 episodes or whatever. So the final season has the what's his name? The king, the Ice King or the Death King, King of the Dead.
Yes, yeah.
Iceman. Spiky Ice Head.
Iceman, yeah.
But they have that. There was that big battle where everyone complained because you couldn't see it, but it was they're attacking and all the armies have to come together and they have to fight, and then it ends because the stupidest ending ever with Arya stabs him with a stupid thing. Like even now, I'll still against
spoilers, guys. Spoilers.
So fuck him, piece of shit. Badly written, but as far as I understood it, like that was supposed to be the end of the season.
Okay.
So the season was supposed to build to that.
Yeah, okay.
And then they were going to get to the very final climactic thing was, oh, now the Dragon Queen is coming.
Yeah.
Now she's going to take advantage. And then the final season, which would have been the next season, was supposed to be that whole thing. And like her having a full mental breakdown over a period of time.
So they bundle all of that into one season then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the story behind that is because the two guys thing was the guys who are not created it, but the guys who were running the show, they got an offer from Netflix apparently to do. They basically got a blank check and it was like hundreds of millions of dollars to be like, yeah, we want you to make shows for Netflix. Start whenever you're finished Game of Thrones, and it's up to you what you're going to make. So if you got offered unlimited money to make whatever you wanted to make, and you weren't that invested in making what you were currently making, maybe you'd kind of push it through to the finish line a little quicker.
Yeah, true.
So apparently that's what happened. They, rushed the ending so that they could get the contract and get off to Netflix and make whatever they wanted to make at Netflix. But again, this is all rumor. After Game of Thrones, the finale came out.
Yeah.
And the reaction was so awful, Netflix dropped them from their contract.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think they're still multimillionaires, so they're fine.
They're still doing okay. Actually, to bring up a little rumor, if you're allowed to talk about it, you mentioned it last time I spoke to you, but you said there's some troubles on the Last of Us 2 set.
I've heard that.
Well, before we go into those rumors very quickly, have you seen season 1?
I haven't even seen season 1.
So I have watched it. So now,
I haven't played the game either. Have you
now,
played
now
the game?
now we're on the other side. Now I'm watching stuff and you're not watching it. But I've played the games. Big fan of the games, and they're AAA PlayStation games. Very good production value. Very good. The acting in the game is very good, and the motion capture. And then yes, I will say, when they announced the TV show, I was a little reluctant because I was like, how different is this going to be to The Walking Dead? Which I enjoyed The Walking Dead. Now, I knew the zombies were kind of different, the way they're portrayed and stuff, and the virus and stuff. But I thought they did a great job. Not AAA production. Like, you can tell, like, they struggled with some of the sets. Like, you could see, like, it was a bit of a set. Or, if they wanted to show, like, a city skyline, they kind of rarely showed those shots, because there's a lot of money goes into that. But I thought overall they did a really good job. I mean, yes, I've played the game, so I kind of knew what was happening. But my wife was watching. She's not played the games. And she was invested. She was like, oh, when's that next episode coming out, So then moving on to season 2, I was chatting to you. You said they've got a lot of problems going on.
Yeah, because they were It's funny because you're saying AAA. I think they wanted it to go up to the next level. So they've invested a lot of money, like tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, into the show. And they were filming. They're filming here in Vancouver. They filmed on the island, Vancouver Island. And people have worked on it that I know in the industry. So it's employing a lot of people, but apparently they just ran through the money way too quick, and they had 8 episodes for season 2 planned.
Yeah.
And they were getting short on money, so they said what they're going to do is they're going to drop it down to 7 episodes.
Okay.
And then what happened was they were still running low on money. So they said what they're going to do is they're going to make it 6 episodes, and they're going to make episode 5 and 6 a big finale episode.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But the rumor is that they've filmed 5 episodes and they've run out of money.
Oh my goodness. Like how many, who's the guy having to tell the higher ups, like, it's not going to be 8. It's going to be 7. No, it's going to be 6. We'll blend 5 and 6 together. No, okay, it's going to be 5. Like,
it'll be fun. Yeah, we had 8. There's 5, and they haven't finished it. And there's people that were working on it who are no longer working on it, and they don't know if they're going to get rehired. They don't know if they're going to get replaced. They don't know what the studio is going to do because it's HBO, and the budget is rumored to be somewhere around $200 million.
Yeah, it is HBO, isn't it? So yeah, they've got a lot of stuff backing it, and season 1 did well. So like, yeah, more reason to put more money into it. They're thinking season 2 is going to be just as good or better.
Right, and you've got the hottest star in the world in it, but that seems to be the other problem of. Okay, you film 5 episodes. That happens. You need to go back. You need to reevaluate, decide what's going to happen. Go to the blueprints. It's going to be really hard to make a show where you can't get your star performer.
Well, yeah, you got to do some reshoots. He's in Gladiator. He's in Mandalorian. He's in everything.
And,
so.
Yeah, he's locked into what's that little movie? The Fantastic
Four, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and this the other thing of like. HBO want him back. They want to be able to finish this season. And it's like, well, no, he's filming Fantastic Four right now.
Yeah,
and it's like the Henry Cavill mustache situation.
I was just gonna bring that up, dude.
It's like you might be HBO and you might want to get your really good second season of your TV show going, but you're going up against Disney.
Yeah,
like Disney, they're the biggest, wealthiest company in the world, and they will have all the lawyers in the world smashing you around. So, again, rumors, just things that have come through the grapevine in the industry, and if that's the case, that sucks balls, because I know, like you said, a lot of people love the show, a lot of people became fans of the show, and didn't know the game, and you never want to see something tank. You want it to be good.
There was a couple of things with that as well. So they kind of remastered the game, even though the game was like looking great anyway. Like it was done by a very good studio, but they remastered it to look even better. Like it just looks fantastic. So they actually remastered part 1 of the game, and then it came out with the TV show kind of thing. So everyone that's watching the TV show, suddenly now there's like this remastered version of the game. So that boosted their sales like crazy. But without like no spoilers, but in the second game, because there is 2 games, like a massive thing happens at the beginning of the game. So I was curious, like, oh, is this season 2 going to be the same thing? But apparently they were trying to string it along more. So I think I heard that this season 2 that's having all these troubles is like a 1.5 of the game,
right?
And then so season 3 would be like part 2 of the game. So let's see if they even make it there. But
yeah,
so
crazy.
Yeah,
and it's one of those ones of you had the hottest show on TV or whatever. Like it's your new Game of Thrones, and now for it just to falter like right at the next gate, you're like, oh my god, that sucks.
Question: do they film a lot of stuff on Vancouver, like on Vancouver Island, or just like in Vancouver? Do you see a lot of stuff?
There's a lot in Vancouver. A lot on the island is usually. Most of the stuff that gets filmed on the island is actually Hallmark movies. You know those ones?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
A lot of them get filmed here, but you do get a lot of productions that will film some material here, but I think Vancouver as a whole is just easier to film in.
Okay.
And for years, like you'll know this, the CW shows were all Vancouver. So the Flash, I was there. The Green Arrow, they were all there because it was convenient. It's a city. People can live in a city. People can hang out in a city. It's got all the amenities that you want from a city. But you drive 1 hour north, you're in the mountains. You drive 1 hour east, you can go to like a fields and farmland. Like Smallville the house was in Vancouver.
Oh, was it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can go and visit it. Like I drove past it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
for nerds like us, it's cool. It's just a house. It's not at all cool for anybody else in the world.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
And it's right beside the border for the States, obviously. So if you're an American and you're coming up, it's right there. You can come up from California.
Huh.
So Vancouver gets a lot of traffic from that, and then the island kind of gets a little bit of like the extras, or like, you want to get a very specific kind of look. You want to get the deep mountains, or you want to get the forests.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of studios here, and I think they're trying to expand the studios here on the island because the island's nicer than Vancouver, to be honest.
Yeah.
And like prefer the pace of life here sometimes.
Yeah.
And the general problem now, though, is productions have kind of dried up because of things like volume.
Okay.
So people who can afford volume will use it, and like CW shows, CW's gone. That's closed down. Warner Brothers is having all those cutbacks. But at the same time, there are shows like, I think Reacher season 3 is out here. So
cool.
There's still productions.
Yeah. Yeah, Reacher was a good
next
one.
year will be an interesting year for shows because everybody's kind of now got a hang of what the world is about. Like, you got to have a good streaming service. You got to have a good variety of content, and you can't just keep waiting for the next IP because like you're running out of IPs. There's not a lot of IPs left.
Yeah, you were mentioning that. This is a good little segue into the boxing, because we talked about boxing, but you were talking about streaming services and how I just wanted to bring up how Netflix were struggling with this Mike Tyson fight. So you got this megaton streaming service, and they're providing a live boxing show. And I spoke to quite a few people. So I had quality issues, but then after a while it would like snap back into something decent. But I spoke to at least 5 people that couldn't even see the matches. Like couldn't even see like the Katie Taylor match before. Like it wasn't even on for them. And then apparently there's a lawsuit against them now. Like with the amount of people that couldn't, Netflix promised this live boxing match and they didn't deliver. But they said was like 70 million people tuned in for the Katie Taylor and the main event. Yeah.
I mean, that's stupid numbers.
Yeah, that is crazy numbers. So, but what did you?
I didn't have any issues watching it until the Tyson walkout. So everything was solid right up until Tyson walked out, and then it dropped. And like we were like, we got to reset it. So we paused it so that we were like giving it time to buffer and stuff. I was at my buddy's house, and it was like, oh man, this is crazy, because he was on the phone to his sister who was in Ontario where you are.
Okay.
And she didn't have anything. She had like a black screen with like the spinning wheel. Like,
oh yeah. Okay.
She couldn't get anything. Like, what the hell's the point in this?
Yeah. What did you think of the fights? Like, I mean, I'm just going to bring up the last two. But the Katie Taylor fight, my quick...
I'll take it. She might not have... I don't know. It was... The point deduction, I'm going to say, shouldn't have been a point deduction.
Yeah.
I just think it wasn't deliberate enough to warrant it. I've seen much worse things getting through referees before.
Yeah.
And when they called out the results and said it was a unanimous decision, I thought she lost.
Yeah. Okay.
My bet was she was going to get... If she was going to get it, she'd get it by split decision.
Yes, exactly. Exactly that, yeah. I think sometimes...
So when they said all judges scored the same, I'm like, oh no, that point deduction screwed her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of strange, and I know sometimes a bunch of people say boxing's rigged, and it has been rigged in the past, and this one could have been or whatever. But the strange thing was this was also a match in the States. It was in Texas, and the woman she was fighting was from America as well. So you'd think if anything, it would be skewed toward her if it was like rigged, But
one of the things with that, I'll say, with boxing, which people kind of miss. When you come to judges and scoring a fight, especially a championship fight, it's generally a rule of thumb that you have to beat the champion.
Yes.
Like you can't get a decision against the champion, because 9 times out of 10, the champion is the champion. So everybody just kind of thinks like they're already got the crown. Like
you have
they
to prove
don't
it. You
have
have to
to
put
win.
in. Yeah, you have to put in the work. You have to prove it. You have to be the attacker, the aggressor, to get the edge. You know, because otherwise, yeah, like she's the champion, and people are just going to side with her. I can't. I also.
Yeah, you have to beat the champion. Like you can't let it seem like it's close, because if it's close, it'll always side with the person who's already got the belt.
Yeah. And I think the cut obviously didn't go in her favor either. Just like having that cut and then physically, bleeding with you, and it was a deep cut as well, and she's bleeding in between the matches. I feel like people. I know there's referees and they judge it, and they should be judging it in a professional way of like clean punches, but I don't think that helps matters when you see the other lady beaten up like that. I know it was a clash of heads, but I don't think that helped her case either. Like, you look at Katie, she looked kind of fine, and then you look at, the other girl, and she's like, oh my God, is her eye okay?
And the other thing with that, I'll jump in on, is it's actually worse to be a bigger fighter when it looks like you're more hurt.
Right, yeah.
So if you're a smaller fighter, like Katie is smaller than her.
Yeah.
So it looks really bad when you're bigger and more injured than the smaller one.
True, yeah.
Because people are like, oh man, you must be getting really rocked to be like hurt, because you're able to hit this one with more force and she's not looking in any way bad.
And they weren't happy with that decision at all. Like, I don't know if you saw her on social media the other day. The day after the fight, she was kind of slagging off Katie and just saying like she headbutts everyone, in fights and this and that. And then she actually came back on her message. I think she deleted her tweet and then or reposted it and said like, this is nothing against Katie, like we're good friends, but just she's just like tension. She's just been in a fight, her temper's running high and all that, so she was just kind of
you train for years and you're training for months in your camp to get there, and it's all comes down to a fight, and it
comes down to a fight, and then you clash. Unfortunately, you clash heads. It could have happened like the other way around. It could have been Katie with the gash, so
and Serrano's she's a southpaw. Like, it's always awkward fighting regular versus southpaw. That's why it clashes heads. Are so much more common in those kind of fights.
She really is good as well. Because the last time I saw her fight Katie, I was like, I kind of borderline thought that was a draw as well. But like I could see in that match like a little bit of Katie winning there. But so when I knew she was fighting on Mike's undercard, I was like, oh damn, this is going to be a really good boxing match. Everyone said that was the match of the night, which it kind of was. Because
I would want Katie to kind of retire now, because the only fight that's left is to fight Serrano again. And there's no one else in the division that's really going to give her any kind of...
There's one girl, but I think she'd have to move up, but it's actually Daniel Dubois, his sister. Apparently she would like to, but I'm not sure what weight division she's in. So, but she's supposed to be like up and coming. I can see them wanting to push that to have Daniel as like the heavyweight champion, but then also her sister as a champion.
Yeah.
So
it's also a thing of like Katie's now 38.
Yeah, I think I saw that 38, and that's on the tail end now. So
yeah, like you kind of want to be like, you're the champion, you're got the belts, you're proving yourself again and again and again. Just like so many boxers don't, because it's in your mentality just to keep going, to keep fighting.
Yeah. And then
which right to Tyson, which is like a 60-year-old man getting in there trying to fight.
So I'm curious to hear, because I've talked to quite a few people about this and I've got different thoughts on it. I've always gone back and forth. What do you think really happened in that fight? Do you think Mike was holding back the punches? Do you think, I know he got like 20 million for the fight. Do you think there was a deal where it said just get through all 10 rounds? It was 10 rounds, was it? Or was it 8?
2-minute rounds, 8 2-minute rounds.
Yeah. Okay, so get through them all, make it an entertaining, or thing, blah blah blah. I heard that like there was quite a few opportunities where he could have like uppercutted, and he loves to uppercut, and he didn't. Yeah. Was it just his age? Was he 58 and he just got gassed? What do you think happened?
Well, what's his name? Roy Jones Jr. was commentating on it, and Roy Jones Jr.
That was the last time he fought.
Division champion, like he knows boxing, and immediately he's just like, Tyson doesn't have any legs. His legs aren't working. He's not moving his legs. He's not.
Okay.
And if you know Tyson's fighting style, everyone thinks like, oh, Tyson's strong. So he is. He's really strong, but he's a small heavyweight, like in terms of reach and height. What made Mike Tyson terrifying was he could move so quickly laterally and get in and under and bob and weave, and like trying to hit him with his giant neck and his huge back, it was impossible. And then he gets in close and he uppercuts and he hooks, and you're done for.
Yeah,
with the power. But it involved him fighting guys with longer reach, fighting guys who were taller, and to do that he had to close that distance. He had to be able to get on his bike and go bang, 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 3 steps in, and he's already in your face.
Yes. Yeah. So
he didn't have that, and he was standing in the middle of the ring, and he couldn't move. He couldn't get fast enough to get near Jake.
Yeah, and that's where I'm leaning towards as well. Like, I've spoken to a bunch of people that was just like, no, he wasn't. He was holding back, and he wasn't doing this and that. And I was like, I think you're holding on to like the old Mike Tyson. You know, it's like, I think he's 58, coming up 60. He was gassed, and he doesn't move like he did. You know, so that's. Yeah. Realistically, it should have been called an exhibition match all along. It just wasn't, because it wouldn't have got the sales otherwise, you know. So I think they always knew that was going to be the outcome anyway. But
yeah, well, when he went in the ring, like right away, you saw he has the brace on his knees.
Yeah,
and that's not a good sign, because
of course not. No.
Like, I was watching all his training videos, and in his training videos, he looks incredible.
Yeah, he
still got the speed and power, and I was like, where is that? Like that.
Yeah,
that is old Tyson. That is somebody who can crush somebody.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've heard this. He came out and had an interview. So his legs weren't working, but the reason his legs might not have been working as they should have is because he was in hospital in June.
Yes.
So he had to get, I want to say he got like 6 or 7 blood transfusions or something, he was saying.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. And he was like having to do that in June, and then you got July, August, September, October, 4 months.
Yeah.
To get back. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're having to get blood transfusions at any point and then turn around and try and train for a fight,
yeah,
it's not good. And then
that's nuts.
Bollocked up his knee, so
yeah,
he's in there on a brace. It's like, nah, this is. If he was in his 20s and he had to get a blood transfusions and stuff, and he was real sick, you'd be like, okay, he could recover. But a guy who's 58 years old trying to get back from a hospital stint,
yeah, just ridiculous. Like that's like I said, that's where I was leaning. 58, 60, just a bit long in the tooth. But I mean,
I'm looking at it now. Actually, he said he had 8 blood transfusions, and he lost 25 pounds while in the hospital.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and then to think he was fighting 4 or 5 months after as well. So
yeah, he lost 25 pounds in 11 days. Doctors said they had to take out half of his blood through 8 blood transfusions. It started because he started throwing up blood in the bathroom.
Shit.
He couldn't eat. Only had liquids, and every time he went to the bathroom, it smelled like tar.
Oh my
Didn't even
goodness.
smell shit anymore.
Oh my goodness. Ah, dear. Dear. Yeah,
crazy. But going back to boxing and the respectable boxing, obviously.
Yeah.
Where do you think? Because we're fans. Do you think out of the heavyweights left, we've got Usyk, Tyson Fury, and AJ, Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
We talked about this off podcast, off air. It was. I think AJ's done.
Yeah, I agree. Well, so you mentioned those 3 guys, and obviously those guys bring in the money, but there are now some newer guys. I mean, Daniel Dubois is up there. I know he's still young, but I mean, he obviously showed that he could do some shit. So he's in the top 5, I think. But then, am I forgetting somewhere? Oh, Joseph Parker, the New Zealander. He's the one that. Who did he just knock out recently? He did a really good job with.
Was it Wilder? Did he fight Deontay Wilder?
Yeah, it was Wilder. Yeah. So yeah, Wilder, and then there's also a Chinese guy called Zhang.
Zhang's pretty. He's a hitter.
Yeah, and but I think he's already into his 40s. So I think. But anyway, it's super exciting having all of those guys around. Yeah, but going back to AJ, because massive fan of him. Yeah, I just like he had this big kind of he was winning a few, and then he did the UFC Francis, and that was like a big win as well. But I think and his confidence is running high. I think honestly, he had a really really bad night against Daniel Dubois, but I also just think maybe his heart's just not in it anymore. He's got all the money, and I just after that kind of defeat, I just don't see, and it's confirmed now that he's not rematching him, which is even more of a like, oh, you're not going to rematch him and try and like prove to everyone that was a mistake. It was like a one-off. So I think he's going to fight someone still quite highly ranked, like a Wilder kind of thing. Like a perfect match would be a Wilder, because Wilder's kind of on the down as well, And if he did do that and beat Wilder in like a big way, then maybe I can see like a Tyson Fury. But I don't see him beating Daniel Dubois like ever. I just don't think he or even a Usyk, I kind of go round and round in circles. But I can also see reading Sky News tomorrow, dude, and it's like AJ is retired, So
yeah. Well, this is, like I just said earlier, it's the same thing with boxers. It's just so hard for them to get out of it. But AJ's like worth, what, $100 million or something. Like, he's not hurting for money.
No, he's not hurting for money at all. And he's done a lot for the sport, and awesome to even come back to where he is now, And, like, he's, I think, 35 or 37 or 36 or something. But
he's
so he's done some good stuff, and he's come back. And, like, to come back to where he is awesome. But, yeah, I think his pride is hurting a lot, but also he has to kind of just look at himself and think, like, do I really want this? Do I need this? So
like that's the McGregor thing. I don't think McGregor's ever going to fight again, just because he's rich, he's successful, he lives a good life.
Yeah.
Like, for what he wants to do. It's like, are you really going to get up at 5 a.m, do a 6-mile jog, spar? Like, I know he shows videos of him doing that stuff, but there's a whole different brain that makes you into a fighter.
McGregor was at one of AJ's fights, so I think it was 2 fights ago. He fought, not the Francis one, it was before that. I think he fought like this Icelandic guy, and he like knocked him out. And then McGregor was like, when he was like, walking out of the ring, McGregor was there giving him his forged stout. I was like, oh my God.
McGregor was at the
I mean, he was at all of them.
Fight too, because
he was,
him and Tyson Fury were watching.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
show that clip on social media.
Yeah, So, and then I also found like the Fury fight, and which actually the next one is next month, which will be a good one. We can talk about that. But I think it's like the 12th of December or something, so it's less than a month away. But that's going to be really really interesting, because I honestly, after Fury's been through more mentally. And he's come back from some shit for sure. So after he lost, and he's never had like a loss on his record, I could honestly see him also retiring and just saying fuck this, But he's he's taking this fight. So I either see this fight going. I think there's a possibility this fight Fury goes mental and like wins within like 3 rounds. Because he's kind of just like, I know this is serious now, or. It's either I think it's either Fury wins within 3 or 4 rounds, or for sure Usyk got it for sure. Like he'll either knock him out or just win on points again. So
I think you're right. Fury, he needs the knockout for the optics of it. Like, he's got to be able to see that he's knocking this guy out, and also going to the points didn't work last time, which was kind of his. At least I thought that he would always get it on points. Like, if it went the distance, he'd have the jab, he'd have the reach.
Yeah.
He's smart enough that he's just going to be able to outpoint Usyk and keep him at a distance. Like, it would be boring, but it would be professional.
Yeah. Yeah, Usyk just, like, he really surprised me. He surprised me against, like, Anthony Joshua and everyone else as well. But he just... I think his main thing is when you think that he is tired and it's all over... He then goes into 5th gear. you know. So
Yes.
like that's his thing. Is like you think, oh, he is gassed. It's like round 8 out of 12. Okay, he's slowing down a little bit. Then comes round 9, and he goes, okay, now I'm actually going to get more energy. You know, whereas everyone else is like, holy shit, like I'm knackered. You know, he just finds the energy from somewhere and just goes mental, doesn't he?
He does. He's got that. Well, it's the spirit. Like he's fighting for Ukraine. He's fighting for his people. He's got.
Yeah.
It's like that Rocky thing. You just got that little extra right at the bottom of the tank that will just keep you going.
Yeah. I mean, and good on him as well. And he's a good sportsmanship and stuff. So, did you see? I think it could have been the AJ fight. I think it was. And it was after, you know, they were doing interviews, and McGregor was there, and McGregor like walked by and said hello to him, but then you know he was walking by doing like his like Roadhouse walk, you know.
Yeah.
You know? And then Usyk was taking a piss out of him, like as he went away. He was like, "This guy, he's fucking crazy, man," and then he starts walking like him as well. But yeah, no, it's good to see. It's good to see like some, you know, have a bunch of like boxers to follow, and they're actually competing against each other. So you've got that, you know, Saudi Arabia money. You know, they're making everyone fight, aren't they? So
yeah, they're like, okay, we want to see this happen. This is only you've only got a tiny window when it comes to these fighters to actually get them at their peak.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still love to see. Honestly, I'd love to see a AJ Fury in Wembley. I think that would still sound. I think even though AJ's on a downer and possibly retirement, if Fury loses next month, I still think an AJ Fury Wembley sells out Wembley Stadium. So
I think for the British fans it'd be something to see, like the big British fighters, the big heavyweights going at it one last time.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool to see. And then UFC, I saw Jon Jones just won on the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, he won again. So he might retire. He might keep going. Who knows?
Is it just me? But like UFC isn't as exciting these days, yeah? Or like
I think there's something missing. There's some spark that's just not there. Like it's why they were so ready just to ignore all the issues, all the problems, and get McGregor back, because nobody fills the stadium. Like it doesn't matter. Like if you hate him, he makes people watch. He makes people pay for tickets.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I want to say Dana White said that he is still fighting, but like it's just that empty promise. Yeah. It's the empty promise, though, isn't it? So
yeah, like it's now 4 or 5 years since he's fought.
But is he scheduled to fight someone?
He was supposed to fight Michael Chandler this year.
Oh, and he just fought on the weekend, didn't he? And he lost.
Yeah. He did. Yeah. McGregor said no, the fight's not happening, so they gave Chandler a fight against Oliveira. It was a good fight, but yeah.
I saw it at the end, didn't he? Wasn't he like jumping on his back? You know, because the guy was hanging on to him.
Body slamming him.
Yeah, body slamming him. That was it. Yeah.
So, that was damn impressive.
Yeah, but I would like to see Jones against Francis, or I'm hearing about this new guy in England.
Aspinall.
Yeah, the English guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I guess he still hasn't had that many fights, so he wants to obviously fight Jones because he wants the titles.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, you're ducking me, blah 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 blah. But I'm definitely hearing a lot about him. So
he's got the Francis Ngannou kind of aura around him. He's got this good record, a good track record now. He goes against fighters, he knocks them out. He's powerful, he's strong, he looks dangerous, but he hasn't really gone in there against somebody. And there's nobody like Jon Jones. He's the GOAT. So.
But Jon Jones is on the tail end as well, isn't he? He's got to be like 35, 38 or something as well. Yeah. That's
the thing. People are thinking that if there's anybody who could hurt him, it would be a young fighter with a lot of power.
Yeah.
Because he was fighting Stipe Miocic, who is, I want to say 41, 42. And he had that, they were making references to Tyson. Like he looked slow. He didn't have that snap in his punches. And it was just, against any fighter, you'd be in trouble. But against somebody as brilliant as Jon Jones, you're dead in water. Like he's just going to pick you apart. And that's exactly what he did.
Are they lining him up for like a final fight, or is he done, do you reckon?
the talk. He wants the money, and he's very aware of his record. He's 20. I'm gonna look it up so I get this right. Yeah, Jon Jones record 28-1, one no contest. Like, he's got a near perfect record. He's the champion at 2 divisions. He's moved up a weight class. Like, he's got all these things. He's recognized as the GOAT, and he doesn't want to tarnish his legacy, like, at this point, just to satisfy people's, well, you got to prove it, you got to defend. It's like, shut up. Like, it's the Ridley Scott. I'm back to that. I'm like, the dude's been fighting for 10 years. Like, what are you going to do? One more fight just so he might lose? That's what you want?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to take out the paycheck and get the Saudi money to, like, really get him to fight Tom Aspinall.
It's true. That Saudi money will get anyone going.
That's true. Dana's probably going to give them a call. Like, hey, I need a blank check, please.
Yeah, I want to say, because the boxers are getting paid quite a lot more than those UFC fighters, aren't they? Especially, Jones will get paid a lot.
It's all the gate, because with boxing, they get a percentage of the gate in the pay-per-views. That doesn't happen with UFC. They get paid what they get paid, and Dana tells them.
Like, how much would, like, the second fight on that, so the Michael Chandler fight, how much do you reckon he would have got compared to, like, I don't want to say Katie Taylor, because I know women probably get paid even less, but like a secondary boxing match.
Well, they'll give you the purses. It's just that the higher ranked fighters, the guys who are in the main event, especially ever since Conor got in there, was they want a percentage of the pay-per-views.
Okay.
And like, to use the Tyson fight example, like, Tyson and Paul are the main draw. Like, they're the reason people are buying it. So they're going to get the biggest cut of the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And then actual money just to pay the fighters will go down the ranks from XYZ. I would say, let's see.
I'm just curious, like, you get in the cage, and I hear that the UFC fighters, some of them get paid like dog shit.
Yeah, well, like, you look at here, like, you got Jon Jones made $6 million, Michael Chandler made $1 million.
Okay, yeah.
So you're going $6 million, $4 million, $1 million, $1 million. So those are the 2 main event guys, right?
Yeah.
The next highest paid guys were the ones below that: Bo Nickel and Jim Miller.
Yeah.
200,000, 150,000.
Yeah, okay. So that's 200,000. You're in a ring boxing with someone, but like snooker in England is more than that now. You know what I mean?
And like the guys who opened the card, Karine Silva, Veronica Hardy, made $56,000.
Yeah, you see, that's like, not
nobody's
that
gonna
much,
like say that's not good money. It's okay money. Like, that's a year's salary for an average person, or like above average.
Yeah.
But like you said, like, you're in there fighting, and you've put in 2-3 months of solid camp, and obviously you've got to be pretty much training year round every year.
Yeah,
it's a lot of effort for, a fight. And if you get really fucked up and you're injured, you might not be fighting again.
Well, you might not be fighting again, and then you got to think about all those other fighters that want to be those guys. These guys are on TV, they're headlining, but then they're only getting like 200,000, which again is very good money. But you got to think about all the people that aren't. They're all the what do you call it? They're just the people behind the scenes and stuff, helping them, and then ones that didn't make it. But
just what you said there. Like, when you get paid, that guy got Silva. He got paid $50,000, right?
Yeah.
He has to pay his coach. He has to pay the cook man. He has to pay the ring man. He has to pay his travel expenses, his hotel expenses. Like, some of it might be covered by UFC, but that's gone. Like, pretty quick, that's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to.
If you're not in that zone where you're making 2 fights a year and you're making like 100K or 200K or 3, it's like you got to really take an investment assessment of the investment of okay, I'm getting beat the shit up year in, year out, and I'm barely making ends meet at home. Like, having a regular job is tough. Having a job where you could be killed any moment, and then be like, oh, you're only making $50,000. It's man. Oh man.
Yeah.
So I looked it up here. Katie Taylor got $6 million for her fight surround.
Okay.
Which is the most money she's ever made in a fight, and it's nearly double the most she got in her last fight with Chantel Cameron in 2023.
Oh wow. Yes, I mean,
but yeah, they're the undercard, and to be fair, they're the best fight of the night, and they were the only legitimate fight.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
so for
as well as that, it was
40 million. Like, okay.
As well as that, it was hosted by Netflix, and then how many? You said like there was like 70 million people that tuned in and stuff. So like, yeah, that's nuts. Those numbers are crazy. So
like even if 10% or 20% of them, like, yeah, let's say 20% of them were people who just bought it for that night. So you're looking at 14 million people paying $7 or $10.
Yeah,
so
that's
$140
true.
million.
Think about it that way. Yeah, that's pretty cool to think about it that way, actually.
And that's only if they buy it that night and cancel the next day. Yeah. Like, most people might have it running for another month or two.
Oh, you say most people? There would be a hell of a lot of people that just keep that running, man. More than half would keep that running.
I think the streaming services getting in on boxing is like, it's a pretty good racket, because if you could say to me, I can watch, like, DAZN is one of the guys that we have.
Yeah.
But with DAZN, you have to pay for DAZN monthly and then pay for the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So sometimes the pay-per-view is included in the subscription, but I think one of the Anthony Joshua fight, or was either Anthony Joshua or was
I think it was
Canelo?
It was Canelo.
It was Canelo. Yeah, you have to pay again for the pay-per-view, even though you'd already bought the subscription.
I know, that was so cheeky. So.
But if you can say to me, like, for my Netflix, subscription fee, I can also get a fight once, 4 fights a year.
Yeah,
like, not bad.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm sure that's something they're probably looking into as well.
Yeah, because a single pay-per-view for the UFC guys, for example, is anywhere from $40 to $80 for one night.
Damn,
and it's like, that's nearly a whole year's subscription to Netflix.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You know what? So Netflix?
We can Netflix, like, we can afford this because we just need X amount of people to not cancel their subscription next month, and we'll make an extra $5, $10, $15, $20 million.
You know what Netflix picked up as well? Is they picked up the WWF.
Yeah, I saw that. WWE, don't get it wrong.
Sorry, yeah, WWE, sorry. As I said it, I knew I was saying it wrong. But that starts next year. That's a huge, huge win for them, actually. So.
True, yeah. And Apple have the Major League Soccer.
Yes, they do. They've got
Amazon have the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they know, like, sports are just, like, I'm a huge sports guy for, like, football. So, like, every week every day I'm checking the sports.
What do you what do you stream the Premier League on?
So here in Canada, the rights always, I don't know if it's every year, but the services bid for it. So at one point it was DAZN, so I had DAZN, and now it's Fubo TV have it.
Oh, okay, I know of it. That's strange because I feel like they're not big, but maybe they are now. So
yeah, it's one of those things of, like, you get, I don't know if they get, like, deals with, like, Sky over in England, or, like, they're trying to, however they get it, because the deal in the Premier League, we're way off topic now. We're talking about Gladiator. The Premier League in England is the top level football soccer league, and they just did a deal for their TV rights, and that was worth billions of pounds.
Okay.
And that's for, X amount of years. Sky Sports will have the rights to show all the Premier League matches, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know how that works for, like, services over here. Yeah. Because I can watch the Premier League here in Canada, geolocated through the Fubo app.
Okay.
But, like, somebody logging in overseas wouldn't be able to access it, obviously.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I don't know what you, like, I know what you're saying. Like, I don't know how they're obviously not putting billions into getting the rights. They have a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
But how much, like, they must be charging, because the the annual subscription is like $200 or something.
Oh, it is? Okay. All right.
Like, it's expensive, but they're also like, oh, but you get the English league, you get the Spanish league, you get the German league, you get the French league.
Interesting.
So,
okay, yeah. I knew of them, but I didn't know that they had the Premier League and they were like really pushing it like that. So
yeah, but the weird thing is like they get the Premier League, but they don't get the Champions League, and they don't get this cup and they don't get that cup.
I
so
know that is frustrating. So you have to go
the
somewhere else.
amount of money that it takes, or the amount of money that it generates to get all those, it's crazy money, crazy.
Yeah, it's funny kind of where we are, and we were talking about it like 4 or 5 years ago when we started the podcast, but how everyone is signed up to streaming services now, and there's the usual cable companies, but then when you got the cable companies, if you want any sports, you're paying into hundreds. You're paying $100 up if you want to watch the Maple Leafs, the Blue Jays, watch your Game of Thrones as well, and have your Netflix, So now, like, people are, like, cancelling cable, but now we're back to square one where we've all got Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
Now you got your friggin' FooBar thing and all that lot. So we're just back to square one, aren't we?
And in the middle of all of those services, people still take the time to listen to our bullshit. So once again, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
That's not me telling everyone to piss off. That's just me like, we've been talking for like 2 hours.
Yeah. We should probably round it off anyway, because we don't want too long a podcast. And I know the last of it has been on the sports. What I'll do is I'll make sure I segment it so people know what we're talking, like when we enter the sports segment.
Put the little chapters in so people know what to pay attention to.
I think you can put them in after, so I'll put them in for the other one as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been.
But we're back. We've done 2 episodes back to back.
We've got back to back, and then we've got some Gladiator madness coming up. I'm gonna rewatch the film, so I'm gonna rewatch it. So
yeah. Well, do you want to rewatch it before we commentate on it, or are you gonna we'll commentate as you watch it?
What did we do in the past? Like I want to say, yeah, maybe we clicked play at the same time when we were commenting, weren't we?
Yeah.
So we might as well do it that way. Yeah, we can do it that way. Yeah, we'll just click play, have it mute or whatever in the background, and we can just do our little commentary over the top.
Yeah, but we are going to watch Gladiator 2. I will get my tickets. I'll go see it on Sunday, and we can talk about it on Monday.
Yeah, sounds like a plan, man.
All right, Duder.
All right.
Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Whoever's made it to the end, we appreciate you. So, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take it easy, guys.
All right.
All the best.